Hey guys, it's me, Sujoy. So I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about when to call your relationship a quit in Vietnam. Just a quick disclaimer. Hang on, let me just have my Oreo biscuit a bit. A quick disclaimer. I'm not trying to discourage you. I'm not trying to discourage you from dating Vietnamese girls or marrying Vietnamese women. Okay. Um, from my personal experience, marrying a Vietnamese girl, they're very caring. They make the best wives, and if you really want to have a family, I highly recommend that you should seriously look into marrying a Vietnamese girl. But however, there are certain situations like red flags. Um, you know, Either if you're having a Vietnamese girl or or before or after your marriage, like say after a year or so, a couple of red flags. My main intention of making this video is to let you guys know that when it is the time, when it's the right time to pull out the plug, okay, and just move on with your life, because I don't want my fellow expats you know um, to to get hurt emotionally, and to feel like that you're the victim, that you're the one who's creating all this, so I just want to give you a couple of red flags. Again, I would like to say that I'm not trying to discourage you from dating Vietnamese girls and marrying a Vietnamese woman, and trying to have a family. But this is something which you should really look into, and it's from my personal experience also. So let's just get on with the first one, which I think is really very very important, and I've also gone through a couple of YouTube videos. I don't entirely agree with a couple of the YouTube videos, like narrated by a couple of these Vietnamese people talking about, what not to do when dating a Vietnamese girl and all that jazz. But well, I'll give it to you from my personal experience. Okay, all right. So firstly, most Vietnamese girls are very traditional. Okay, for them, family is very important. Okay, so for them, family comes first. Mother, father, or four brothers, five sisters, or usually Vietnamese families, they're usually big. They got a lot of cousins, a lot of relatives. Okay, so the family is very very important. So say for example, if you're dating a Vietnamese girl, and she wants to take you to her family, and if her family does not like you, or they're just showing you signs of they're not kind of they're not friendly with you, or they're just if you feel something is really off, then that can really hit you in the long run. Okay, like if you go, like you may be dating a Vietnamese girlfriend downtown Ho Chi Minh City, and then she takes you to her family down in the countryside, where they're like farmers, or like the financial situation is quite very different, a lot of money problems and all that, and then you see that where like her family members live very um, they don't have a good kind of a normal financial living, but like they're very poor or something and all that stuff. So you got to be a bit mindful for that. Of course, for me personally speaking, I don't care if the girl, I mean, my ex-wife was from the Philippines, and she came from a very very poor family. I really didn't care about that, but that really hit me in the long run, because that's when like the family members start asking for money, and then treat you like an ATM machine, and the loans and all that stuff. So yeah, so look into the family, see how the family is. Are they happy to see you, or see how the sisters feel about, how her sisters and brothers feel about you. I mean, do you think they're being aggressive with you, or they just kind of not liking your presence. because that'll affect you in the long run, because if you're going to date her seriously, and if you want to marry her down the road, then most weekends you have to spend time with her family members. So and you should not get emotionally hit. So yeah, family members, just make sure that, especially your mother, if she's all right with you. But if she's like, she's trying to avoid you, or they're not trying to communicate with you, or if you see that she has an abusive father, or he's drinking all fucking day, and screaming around and talking about, my life is this, and this and that. I'm sure you don't want to fall into that circle, because at the end of the day, you also need to make sure that you're with a Vietnamese girl, or or you have married a Vietnamese woman, a girl who has a good family. It doesn't matter if the family is rich, poor, or somewhere in the middle. But if they're treating you right, then that's really good. If they're trying to avoid you, that's a big red flag. And if they don't like your presence, that's a big red flag. Okay, so a couple of points which I want to share also over here is, so, like, if you're in a relationship with the Vietnamese girl, or after marriage, like a year down the line or 6 months down the line, if you're texting her, if she's going to office and all that, and or if she's taking time, if she's taking time texting you back, I mean, if you text her and it's taking her, and it takes longer for her to text you back on a regular basis, okay, on a regular basis, then something is cooking. Then you really got to look into this. Like, I would ideally recommend that you date a Vietnamese girl, who has a job, or who has a business. I would not recommend you to date a Vietnamese girl, who's looking only for financial support, or for a caregiving person, or on the text messaging she's saying like, "Can you take care of me after marriage completely?" and all that. I would not recommend you to do that, because you're a foreigner, you're in Vietnam. You need to get your shit right first. You need to make sure that like, you have a stable income, and you have a stable job. I mean, even if I recommend this. I mean, like, I would definitely have a Vietnamese girlfriend, or marry a Vietnamese woman, who has a job, and a job, or who's running a business. But I'm not going to feel comfortable dating a Vietnamese girl who's just dependent on a foreign guy for financial benefits. So I'm not comfortable with that. Okay. Yeah. So again, coming back to a complete financial relationship. Yeah, it's true that like, um, usually, like, the foreigners, they need to pay for their Vietnamese girlfriends. And also, when you're married to a Vietnamese, you need to take her out, you need to buy her stuff. Like, take her out for a dinner or lunch, or take your kid, if you have a child, you got to take out your family once in a while. And I mean, that's the moral obligation. But if you just feel that she's just using you as an ATM, like a financial transaction, and she's just like, I need 100,000, I need 200,000, and she's not very grateful when you're giving the money and all that, or if she's saying, I need 1 million right now, I need 2 million for paying for this, and she's not very grateful, and you feel like there's some kind of emotional disconnect, then that's a red flag. And if you feel that it's been going on for a while, then maybe you should try to reevaluate your relationship. Then maybe it's time to pull out the plug and take a time out. Just walk away from that mess. Okay, so make sure that does not happen. Um, yeah, lack of sex. This is really very important. Yeah, I mean, like, after marriage, it's all right, and even if you're having sex with your wife like once a week and all that, that's okay. But like, I'm primarily trying to focus, for expats, who are married to Vietnamese women. But also, if you're dating a Vietnamese girl, if you see that you're just getting very bad sex, and it's just like you're having a lot of lack of sex, you know she just like maybe she does not want to sleep with you like for 2 weeks or whatever it is, or she's blaming you that or she's blaming you that you're not good in sex, or she's complaining about your sex. That means that she's not very interested with you anymore. That means that she's not appreciating you. She's not appreciating what you're trying to do, to what you're trying to provide her. Like, you're taking her out, you're buying her stuff and everything, but like sex is a human need. Like even after marriage, like when you're married to Vietnamese women, of course sex is important also, but if she's not giving you, if you feel that your sex is really bad, and she's not interested in having sex with you, or she just wants to have a quick one for just for a minute or two, and then she just then you seriously got to look into that, because that is really important. So next one would be, she does not even have a single fucking picture of you on her social media. Okay, like most Vietnamese, they love using Facebook, Zalo. Here's the thing, like, yeah, I mean, like, you may be married to a Vietnamese woman, but if you go to her social media profile, it's just her and her kid and your kid, but or or it's just your girlfriend, and you're nowhere in the profile. I mean, it's kind of a bit odd, because if you really love her, you would definitely include a picture of her with you on your social media profile, and like, I love you so much, or this that. But if she's just trying to portray herself as she's single, she's a single mom and she's available, and you're nowhere in the fucking picture, on Facebook or on Zalo, so primarily on Facebook, then something is wrong, or maybe you should confront her. You should say that, honey, just put one of my pictures with you on her profile, on her profile. And if she says that, I'll do it, or I don't want to do it, or something like that, then and if she doesn't do that, then you really got to evaluate. Then she may be trying to chat with other men, and she may be trying to look for some kind of other relationship. Okay. All right. This is kind of yeah, of course. Okay. So now, like, if you're dating a Vietnamese girl, you have a Vietnamese girlfriend, she's working in the office, or your Vietnamese wife, she's regularly coming back late from the office. She's coming back at, like, 9 p.m. at night, and on a regular basis, and provided you're staying in the city, and she's like telling you that, well, I got a lot of work and all this thing and all that, and she's taking longer time to text you back. Something is going on. Then you really got to look into that. Um, yeah, because she may be doing some shit behind your back. Maybe with her office colleague, or maybe she's secretly going out with some guy, and just spending an hour secretly, and then whatever it is. But if she's doing that on a regular basis, watch out for that. That's a red flag. She starts buying new lingerie. Okay, she starts buying new lingerie, like, yeah, I never knew that you bought the sexy lingerie. Like, oh, you got a red panty lingerie. You never told me about this. Or she's buying those kinky lingeries, the Victoria's Secret types, and she never let you know about it. That's a red flag, because if she really loves you, if the Vietnamese girl really, if your girlfriend really loves you, or your wife, she really loves you, whenever she buys a sexy lingerie, she will show it to you, and she'll like say, honey, I bought this, can I wear this, or something like that. But if you're just seeing out of the blue, she's wearing like sexy lingeries, and you just confront her, and she'll be like, she'll try to justify that, no, I just bought this, or something is cooking, something is cooking. And then she might be, she might be She might be pleasing some other dude, like she might be getting some other guy wet, so you got to look into that, the sexy lingerie stuff. um yeah, she's awkward with the sex position, okay. Like, like for example, like, usually you guys are like having sex like once or twice a week or something like that, but suddenly, or like suddenly out of the blue, she started with some new sex positions, or she's doing the scissor sex or the reverse cowgirl or something which she never did in your whole fucking 1 year or 2 years of marriage, or if you're dating a Vietnamese girlfriend, she never did all that, and she doesn't like, and if she's never seen like porn and all that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, it's kind of awkward, it's just, and you just tell her you never did all this shit, how come you started with these new sex positions, so I don't know, maybe there could be some other guy, who might be teaching your woman, how to come up with new sex positions or something. But like I said, this is kind of a double-edged sword, so you got to be a bit careful with this. um, Hardly any communication at home, like, so for example, you're living with your Vietnamese girlfriend or your Vietnamese wife, and you have a kid also, but she's all the fucking time with her phone, playing Candy Crush, or she's with Facebook, but she's hardly communicating with you. Or it's just like the money only, like, I need money for this, I need money for that, but she's not very appreciative of that. And she's like kind of disconnected herself from you. You want to communicate with her, you want to share your emotions with her. She doesn't even tell you about how her day was or something. Because a good Vietnamese wife, she'll always tell her husband how her day was. Or a girlfriend will always share everything with her boyfriend, with her foreign boyfriend. Oh, honey, I had this kind of a day today or something. She really is into you. But if she's like just coming back and she's not communicating with you, or she's just sitting and fucking watching Netflix or just with her phone, and she's hardly communicating with you, and she's not, that means she's not appreciating you. And then she's definitely kind of losing interest on you, and maybe chances are that she's also secretly communicating with a lot of other foreign guys, on these dating apps. Or she might be dating someone, she might be trying to date some other guy, when she's out at work. Okay. Frequent fights, and you're always at fault. Okay. So like, you always, you didn't start anything, but she creates something, and then she wants to kind of argue with you, and then she tells you, you're at fault, you're this, and you feel like you're the fucking victim. And if this happens on a regular basis, uh, then definitely you got to pull out the plug. You got to walk away. You got to walk away, and you got to evaluate your relationship with that Vietnamese woman. Okay. Yeah, once in a while in a relationship, yes, it's normal to have arguments, fights, heated arguments. But if you see that's happening, if you see the pattern, if it's happening on a regular basis, and if she's trying to come up with some bullshit, and she wants to instigate the fight, or she wants to provoke you or something, uh, then definitely you got to look into this. I mean, I know it's a sad reality. Even if your Vietnamese wife, she's got a kid, and she's trying to pick up arguments with you on a regular basis, you got to really evaluate that. Okay. uh, of course. Okay, so I talked about playing with games on her phone all the time. And she doesn't want to spend much time with you at home. Okay. So she's always with some fucking excuses, like, I gotta go out right now, I have a meeting, I'll come back late. Or she's hardly spending time with you, even on weekends, like even on Saturdays and Sundays. She's coming up with a lot of plans. I gotta go and meet my girlfriends, I gotta, but she's not spending quality time with you. And even if you're married to your Vietnamese wife, and like you got a kid and all that, and if you see that, she's all the time taking her kid out, and she's not at home all the time, and you got to look into that, because a good marriage life would be like the family going out all together, and maybe all together going out having a coffee, or going out for a weekend dinner, as a family. The family time is not there, so that's a red flag. So maybe she might be going to visit someone else, some other person, some other guy, and maybe she's trying to introduce her kid to that guy, so that her kid, so that your kid, so that your kid can get comfortable with the new man, with the new daddy. So yeah, I mean, you got to look into this. I mean, so because I don't want you to fall as a victim, okay? And again, the bad family status, okay? Like you don't like how her family members are like living, and like you see that her father is getting drunk all the fucking time, and complaining about things, and the mother is always taking money from the loan sharks. And I saw this on YouTube that I think this is like what not to do when dating a Vietnamese woman, if I'm right. But that Vietnamese girl on YouTube was saying like when you marry her whole family. You got to take care of her family's loans and all that bullshit. You got to be very careful because most of these Vietnamese families, like if they're staying in the countryside or if they're financially a bit off, they usually take loans from loan sharks, like the Vietnamese mafia loans and all those people. And, you know, I bet you don't want to connect yourself with that. Okay, I bet you don't want to connect yourself with that. Then that's going to be really, really very dangerous for you. Then they're going to come after you. Okay, or so just make sure. And also if you got to make sure that your girlfriend or your wife, Vietnamese wife, is not taking loans from a lot of people. Because the last thing you want is getting stranded in Vietnam, and you're in a very bad kind of a financial shithole, and like the loan sharks are after you. So because you got to take care of yourself first, okay? And if you're not being respected, if you're not being appreciated, provide. Of course, you need to support your family, your wife, your kid. You need to take them out for dinners, lunch, your girlfriend out, treat her right with respect. But if she's treating you like shit and she's not appreciating your gestures, and she doesn't care about you, she thinks like you're just like a piece of candy or something, like a disposable candy, then you may need to take out the plug and walk away from that situation. Just walk away from that home. Take a time out for a month or a week, or take a time out for 2 weeks or for a month. Reevaluate the situation, because if you're going to be stuck in that kind of a situation, you will never be successful in life. You will always have that kind of financial pressure on your head. She'll always be complaining about the money. You'll always have regular flight fights and arguments. Your life as an expat in Vietnam would be like a living hell. That's all I got to say. So this is from my personal experience. Again, I want to repeat that I'm not trying to discourage you from dating Vietnamese girls and marrying a Vietnamese woman. Okay, they're the most caring and loving, wives. When it comes to marriage and people. But you also need to be careful of the red flags. Okay, so and don't get into a rush that, oh God, I gotta marry this Vietnamese girl after 2 3 months. You gotta fucking take your time. Okay, just date her out for a year, and then see if she's really, get to know her family very well. Okay, don't be in a rush. Okay, I'm gonna I want to marry her, and then first understand the family is very important. So just try to see how her family members are for a year. See how they treat you and everything. If you feel like they're treating you like shit, they got a lot of financial problems, or it's just like a money transaction all the time, treating you like an ATM machine. It's not worth it, mate. It's not worth it. Okay. So I just wanted to keep this video short, and I hope you found this video to be insightful. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, and also like this video. I'm trying to reach 10,000 subscribers. I'm also going to leave a link down below if you want to start an online, successful online business in Southeast Asia, because I really want you guys to be successful in Vietnam. Okay, I don't want my fellow expats to get stranded, to get emotionally damaged in Southeast Asia. Okay, so with that being said, this was me, Sujoy. Peace out.